Hello! We are going to be coding an app using code.org. So, when you first get here, this is what you see once you log in and have created an account. And then if you go to create here, you see there's several options. So you can view all your projects that you've previously done, or you can go into App Lab, which is the application we're going to be using. So once it loads, you can see there's a lot of blank screen and a lot of workspace. So we're going to want to go not in code right now, but design, because you have to put the elements of the app into the application window before you can code it to do what you want to do. So I want a just basic title page kind of for my app. I'm going to be making a project app that I could do with students about presidents. So they would pick 4 presidents, and then they would create an app about those presidents. I'm just putting my name here. There's text color. It's not quite on black, so I will move it to the black section. So I have nice bold font color. And then here I can change my font type. So if you click on one, then you can arrow through all of them, looking at them. So see whichever one you like. Verdana looks good. Then I'm going to increase the text size. And I make sure that my text box that holds my text goes from one end of the app to the other, because if I want it centered, it's difficult to do if I don't do that, because I can click center and it'll be perfectly centered within my app. And then for my cover page, I also want an image, so I could put my face here or a title page, but when you go to the image, you see this. So the ID here is what each element within your app is called. And so if you're going to be coding it to do something, you're going to want to name it something that you'll remember, and each ID should be individual to that particular thing. So it needs to have a unique ID so that the app knows what you want to do as you're coding it. I'm not going to be doing anything with that, so I'm just going to leave it as image 1. But here I have the image and I'm going to choose it. I can upload a file, and so I'll just upload one from my computer. I'll use my Bitmoji, and then I choose it, and there it is on the screen. And so I can increase the size, and then I'm going to move down my name. Awesome. So a little bit boring, if only because the background is white, so we're going to change that. And we do that by just clicking on the screen out of any of the boxes that hold the other elements. And it says I can choose an image for the background, or I can change the background color. And so I'm going to be making, let's see, a light tealish blue, so that it kind of goes with the blue and red that I will be doing, but it's unique to my title page. And so then I'm going to want to add some buttons. And these are what is going to be moving people around my app. So presidents, right? And I'm going to change the font here and the background color. So I want something that is red, perhaps, maybe. That one, oh, that got a little dark. Oh, it moved. That's why. All right. There it is. And I want my font to be consistent, so Verdana. And then I could increase the text size, or I can decrease the size of my button. So that positions it, but you have width and height, and you can squeeze that in a little to make it friendly size. All right. So as you can see, I've added a couple more buttons. As beyond just the president's information that I'll be adding in, I'm adding in a link to a song as well as a quiz. So I will show you how to code as soon as I show you how to make a new screen. So first thing I want to do is rename this screen because, So if you click off, it'll go back to the background and that'll rename the screen. So I'm going to call this one home, since this is my home page. And then it'll show up there. It's also the screen ID. Oh, don't want to import screens. I want a new screen. All right. And so now that we have a new screen, I'm going to call this Presidents. Okay. I have a background color that I want. Ta-da! So I'm going to add a label, which will be the title. And once again, I want to make sure that those sides line up with the sides of the app. And I have my text all ready to go. Presidents of the United States of America. And then I'm going to make the text black. And we're going to make font consistent, and we're going to increase the font size. And then we want it to be a center alignment so that it's in the middle. All right. And there it is. It looks pretty good so far. I want to add a button. I had that copied from before. I use Control C to copy and then Control V as the keyboard commands. So I'm going to put home. I want a lowercase o there. Go. Maybe decrease the width a little bit. So this button will take me back to the home page where I was before, as soon as I code it to do so. The next thing I want to do is put the 4 pictures of the presidents that I'm going to be looking at in here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm probably going to move those in a whole bunch, because I don't really want them off wherever the heck I want to be. Okay. That's not really centered, but the dimensions of the pictures will be a little bit different depending. So I have to upload all these files that I want from my computer. And so it's helpful if you have a bunch downloaded that you want before you jump in and start doing this. Otherwise, you have to stop and find them. So the first one I want is George Washington. And I'm going to rename his picture, not as image 2, but maybe GW for George Washington. Image George Washington. That's how I'm shorthanding all of these titles. Then the next one that I'm doing is Abraham Lincoln. So I'm going to find his picture. Okay, we'll choose that. Maybe increase the size just a little so it looks a little bit more. But we're going to call him A.L. IAL will be his name, his ID name. Then I chose Teddy Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, as another one of my presidents. All right. So TR. Get rid of that little notification there, right? All right, so ITR, and then the last one is LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson. Then we'll choose him real quick, and there we go. All of our presidents are now on the screen, so we will code those to be the buttons that students can push or people can push to get to the other pages. All right, so now I want to show you how to code your app so far that we've made. So we have the home screen done, and so we'll be coding the presidents button, the song button. We're gonna wait on the quiz button until we get to that part of this tutorial. And then I've created some screens for the presidents. So I'll be coding pictures of the presidents as well as the home button. So we're going to start in the home. And what you want to do is click on what you want to code. So I just clicked on the presidents button. You're going to click on events and then insert and show code. This will take you to the coding page. And so you can code using actual coding. There's a way to do that, but I'm not a coder. So I'm going to use their handy dandy insert bars and things and just use what they already have so that I don't mess it up. So on the president's screen, I want it to go to presidents when I click on it. So I click on presidents. So if you click run, it'll show you what you've done so far and what you have coded. So if I click on the president button, it comes to this. Nothing else is clickable right now, so nothing else will work. So anything that you code, when you click run, it'll show you exactly how your app's gonna work. So let's finish coding this. I will come back to the song page. Let's code George Washington. So insert and show code. Drag the purple out. Set screen. You're gonna click on the little arrow and choose the screen you want to go to. Click on design. Next one. And you just repeat with all of the elements that you want to do this for. Abraham Lincoln. All right, go back to design. Teddy Roosevelt. Drag it out. Drag in the new. Mouse down. There it is. One more time with LBJ. Drag it out. Drag it in. Set the screen. And there you got it. Okay. So then I'm going to code the home button. Insert and show code. Drag it out. Set screen. Pick the screen you want, which is home. And we're going to run this thing. So click on presidents. Click on that. We haven't done that yet. So we got to go back and do that first. Abraham Lincoln. We're going to code this to go back to presidents. So it's a lot of coding and just like dragging in the buttons you want and then making sure it works when you practice it with the run button. But even though it's a little tedious, it's kind of a good practice for students to show them what coding is like. It's a lot of the same code over and over since a lot of the things are the same. Some stuff is different. We'll get to that, but not yet. So Lyndon B. Johnson, design, presidents. So I finish up and I'll be back to you in a second. Okay, so now when I click run, I can click presidents, click on the president. All of my buttons are working. Click home, there we go, full circle. So now I'm going to show you how to code the song button. So this is if you want to insert a URL. So click on insert and show code just like we've been doing. We're going to get rid of the purple. And then we're going to go to URL. Open URL. So right now it's just on code.org. I'm going to grab a URL from a president song. So copy video URL. And then I'm going to insert that in there. So just delete that, and then Control V, paste it. So when I click run, I click on the song, and it asks me if I want to open it. I won't because I know it's good, but that's how you do that. So far we have most stuff done except for the quiz. That'll be what we're working on next, but we have our link for our song. We have the presidents all done. I've filled in with just some common information about each one. So which president they were, how many years, and then just something about them, either mostly about their presidency, maybe a little bit about them. So now we're on to the quiz part of this. So I'm going to make a quiz page and then we'll go from there. So I've copied the background color, but I want it to be a red. So we're going to see what that looks like. I might make it a touch darker, I think. A little bit more even. That looks good. I'm going to be using white text on this quiz. And I'm going to have to copy the button. So I want it to be the same size, but I'm going to make it that blue color. So under quiz 1. All right. But we're going to want this to say next. We're going to make it blue. A darker blue. So actually, we kind of have the hue already. We're just going to make it a blue hue instead of red. So we'll go this way. That way a little bit. That's not bad. I think that's pretty good. Okay. So, make the text in there a little bit bigger. Oops. Increase font size. There we go. So, we're going to want a label in here. Across the top saying that it's question 1 or just asking the question. That works too. We're going to make it white font. Just going to drag it up to the very corner. All right. Increase that font size. Change the font. You're in Verdana. And then we're going to ask who was the first president of the United States? Question mark. And I do want that left justified. I don't want it to be looking like a title. I want it to look like a question. And so for them to answer, I'm going to put these little radio buttons and I just make them 1 click bigger. And I'm just gonna make 3 of those. And try and put them. One thing is that it's very easy to make these too big or like bigger as you're moving them around. So sometimes what I like to do is just use an arrow button. That's not the one I want to move. This one, because then you can move your cursor out of the way and get them to line up better sometimes in comparison to if you don't. I just use the arrow keys on my keyboard. And then I'm going to add labels. So we'll say the first one is Abraham Lincoln. We'll make it white text. And we'll change the font. Maybe increase the font size a little bit. Yeah. And then Control C, Control V. Oop, that's not what I want. So I'll just drag this. So click on that, Control C, Control V. There we go. Once again, I can use those keyboard keys to move things around. And then I'll change the answers for all of those. And then we'll work on making this into a quiz. All right, so when I like to make a quiz, I go 1 question at a time. I always add in some kind of feedback for the people taking the quiz, just so that they know if their question was right, wrong, or they need to try again. So I give unlimited tries with questions. Some people decide it's easier to not code a whole bunch of stuff and just say if you get it wrong, you have to go back to the beginning and you send them to the home page. I tend to not do that. So first of all, I chose some Bitmojis that I use to say, hey, you got it right, or hey, try again. And so I will grab those real fast, and then we'll put those in there. I have my check mark. I might try again. Okay, so try again. We're gonna make this a little bit bigger. Right. So there's that one. And then if they get it right, there's this one. Right. So the key thing with this is that you need these to be hidden. And so you do that by scrolling all the way down and clicking hidden. And then it automatically hides them for you until you code it to show up. So I do that with the next button because I will be coding the next button, so when someone pushes it, it'll go to the next question, but I don't want them to have that option until they've found the right answer. So we are going to change some of these answers. So Washington, George Washington. Oh, no, didn't want that. Okay, that works. And then we'll say Theodore Roosevelt. All right, so obviously the first president of the United States was George Washington. So we're gonna code the incorrect answers first. And so we'll do that like we've been doing. Insert and show code. I have Abraham Lincoln's little thing clicked. All right, so we'll take this out. And then we will look for show element, which is right there. Show element. So you can rename these images, or you can just mouse over them and see the ID is image 10. So I'll scroll down and look for image 10. There it is. So when Abraham Lincoln's little radio button is clicked, try again will come up. And then if Theodore Roosevelt's clicked, want to do the same thing. Go in here, show element, same one, image 10. Wait, yeah, image 10. There it is. All right. But if they get the right one, George Washington, then we don't want to show that. We want to show image 11 and button 10. So show element. And then in the same little thing, we put show element. So they're right next to each other. So it's going to do both when something happens. So image 11, we said. Yep. And then button 10. So we'll go up to button 10. All right. So then we'll try it out. Click run, quiz, which we have not coded yet. So we'll code that first and then we'll check that out. So I'm going to duplicate this window. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Delete. We're going to, let's see. Yep, that should be quiz 1. So duplicate. Yep. There. So that's screen 11. We're going to name this quiz 2. Quiz 2. None of this is coded yet, except for that these are hidden. Go to code. You can see there's nothing about quiz 1, or quiz 2 rather. So we have to recode all of these to appear. We'll have to change the question. But it's an easy way just to duplicate, not have to worry about sizing things and hiding things and a whole bunch of other headachy things. So that's an easy way to duplicate all of the elements, and then all you have to do is code them and change up the phrasing. So for example, I'm going to change out this. What was the nickname given to Theodore Roosevelt? There. Question mark. So we might say it was something funny like T-Dog. How about Rosie? Roosevelt, get it, Rosie? But in actuality, it was Teddy. All right, and so we'll code that so that Teddy's the correct answer and things appear when you click on that, and the try again appears for T-Dog and Rosie. So you continue on making these quizzes in the same way you did the others, and once I'm finished with a few more questions, I will come back and show you the finished product and how I kind of end the quiz. Something you want to make sure you do is test your app every so often and make sure that you're up to where you want to be with how you're coding. So I found out that my next button on question 1 didn't go to question 2. So I need to set the screen on that so that it will go to question 2. And I'll need to do that for question 3 as well. So that's the same as we've been doing. Click on the element, show code, and then put the little set screen, and voila, there you go. You're all set to go. But you gotta make sure you're doing it throughout the way, otherwise it's gonna stop. All right, I've finished my screen 15, which is the end quiz screen. So I'm gonna put end quiz. Right. Now that I did that, I have to change this. No, I guess I don't. Okay. Apparently not. Alright. I'm gonna run this and we'll see if I missed any bugs or if it's all good. So, I know that my song link works. Yep, it does. We'll go through the presidents first. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, LBJ, and home button. Perfect. Quiz. Who is the first president of the United States? If I click Theodore Roosevelt, it's not quite it. George Washington, there it is. Nickname, Teddy. Good. Youngest president, Lyndon George. Theodore. That doesn't work. All right. I will fix that bug and I'll be back with you in a sec. All right, that's fixed. What is something LBJ accomplished during his presidency? Civil Rights Act and Voting Rights Act. That doesn't work either. We're gonna fix that. Okay. Go through the quiz one more time. George Washington. Teddy. Theodore. Let's try this one. Oh yeah, and those both work. All right. Oh, there we go. Okay. Abraham Lincoln, first president of the United States to be assassinated. True. Gotta read the whole question. Congratulations, you've successfully completed the quiz. Then I click home. Apparently, I need to do that one too. All right. So the problem with it was that I had renamed it to the wrong thing and I had already coded it, so it didn't work. That's okay. All good. See if I'm right. Button 14. Yeah. So that was button 15. I had renamed it, and so you see here button 15 is clicked, I go home, but that doesn't happen. So I'm gonna leave that there just in case, but I don't think there is a button 15 right now, which is fine. I'm not gonna make a button 15, so it's good. So that should work now. All right. Oh, that should not be appearing. So let's check and see what happened. 3 is fine. 4 is fine. 5 is fine. That's weird. I think if you take the quiz again, it doesn't hide things. Let's see. Quiz. George. Teddy. Theodore. Civil rights. True. All right. Our app is free of bugs. And so that is how you make an app, y'all. You're done. A few more things. You can rename by clicking the rename button and then saving it. You can share your app. You have a link. And so you can embed it. But what I like to do is I will use, let's see, a QR code generator. It's qrstuff.com. QR stuff as in STUFF.com. And then you can post a website URL and create your little code. So that is how you make an app. And it's super easy to do with your students. It's not too complicated. It's a great technology or coding activity. It's fun for the kids if they're really creative. As you can see from the coding panel, there are a lot of things that you can do. And that's not it. Like there's data, there's variables, there's all sorts of things that they can do. They just gotta try it out a little bit. So it's fun to see what students can come up with. So don't be afraid to show this to your students and not just use it as your own code making thing for them to use your apps, but also for them to make their own apps. It encourages creativity, encourages a lot of critical thinking, especially when they're trying to figure stuff out and see what went wrong if something's not working. So I hope that this was really informational and helpful. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!